Good morning and welcome to the Cloffice. I hope that you are well this morning. I was reading in 1 Samuel and all about Samuel, his whole story. And one thing that really stood out to me about Samuel was in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 26. It says, "And the boy Samuel," not the man, the boy, so still little, "and the boy Samuel continued to grow in stature and in favor with the Lord and with people." I thought that was interesting. Yeah, he's a boy living at the temple, but he continued to grow in stature and in favor with the Lord and with people. That just kind of stood out to me. And then later, I was reading in Luke about the story when Jesus, his family go to Jerusalem, and then they're traveling back home, and they realize Jesus is missing. And they find him in the synagogue teaching. And when all of that is finished, it says in Luke chapter 2, verse 52, "And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man." Both Samuel and Jesus at a young age had an amazing life in terms of their understanding and in terms of they're already being active in the ministry, but they didn't have it all together. It wasn't just downloaded into them. They needed to grow. They needed to learn. So the Bible's very clear to give that to them, to us, to show us that both of them needed to continue to grow in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and with man. And these things are very important. Often we just want to kind of get catapulted into something great, but we don't realize that we need to grow. We need to grow. We need to grow some more. And we need to walk in favor with God and with man. People don't like that part so much sometimes. So there's a few things that I wanted to point out to you that we can glean from both Jesus and Samuel. Number one, we need to fill ourselves with the Word of God so that we can grow in wisdom. We can grow in stature, in character, in who we are. We need to fill ourselves with the Word of God, not people's interpretations of it, not good teaching and preaching. That's all really good, but we need to fill ourselves straight up with the Word of God. Number two, we need to seek the Lord and get into His presence and learn how to recognize His voice, not have other people try to hear God's voice for you. We need to recognize God's voice so that we can hear it for ourselves. Because when we just follow other people and follow signs and wonders and what other people's words from the Lord, it's so easy to get completely confused and disillusioned. We need to know how to hear the voice of the Lord, recognize that it's Him, and walk in that. Number three, we need to walk in the favor of God. That means obeying His word, not picking and choosing what seems right in our own eyes. That's a disaster. You can read about how the Israelites found themselves in repeated disasters because they did what was right in their own eyes. We need to find favor in the eyes of the Lord by doing what is right in His eyes, and you can find that in His word. Just like in point number one, grow in wisdom, know His word. So we need to walk in God's favor. Number four, we need to actually walk in man's favor. Now, this doesn't just mean that we just try to please man, but this means that we are trusting, that we are faithful, that we do what we can to keep peace and to be loving so that we grow in favor and people see us, they're like, that's a trustworthy person. That's a kind person. That's a loving person. Then we grow in the favor of man. So I want to encourage you to learn from Jesus and from Samuel and grow in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and with man. Have an amazing day, and God bless.